You need to get close to that mic.
I can't.
Burning your tongue before a podcast is not a good idea.
Flies in the convention.
So the podcast prior went swimmingly well with technology and content. So we've got. You need to get to that mic. First rule of podcasting. This is going to be fun.
But I can't see your eyes.
You don't need to see my eyes. Anyway, it's good to see you.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited about this one.
Are you? Why?
Well, you've been in business for 25 years, for one.
Yeah.
You're a dad. You're a soon-to-be husband? Husband?
I've been a husband.
Yeah, second time?
Yeah.
Soon-to-be second time?
Maybe.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were engaged.
I am engaged.
Oh.
No, I am engaged.
Well, that's usually an indication that you're going to get married.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Or is that just to keep the missus sweet?
No, not at all.
How many guys do you reckon do that?
What, get engaged?
The long game, engagement game.
I did it.
How many years did you get away with it?
8.
Oof, that's good.
I don't know if it was a record, but it was... Yeah.
No, because I know someone who, I think it might have been my brother-in-law or my brother-in-law, my sister. Did 10, I think.
Wow. Is he married now?
Yeah, she got him. She got him.
Finally got a talent into
She
it.
got him in the end. Yeah, it's a long time, but I think I think it's a good way. Because engagement, really, I don't think all it means is there's a ring on the finger, right?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, it depends on which way you look at it. You know, if a guy asks a girl to marry him, then he's doing that for a reason. He wants to get married.
Not always. Not always. You'd hope so. Yeah.
Well, that should be the case. Having
Sure.
said that, I've just said 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time round, she was adamant she wanted to get married. All her friends were getting married, and there was a lot of pressure there. So, yeah, I don't know what came over me really.
How old were you when you first got married?
99. I don't know.
Not 99 years of age.
1999 is when I got married.
Well, how old are you now?
56.
Oh, you do the maths. I don't know.
I can't do it.
Let's say that's 24 years ago.
Yeah, there you go. So
56, 46, 36.
late 20s.
34.
Would that be right?
No.
See, this is without my phone, useless. Can't do mental arithmetic.
I know. Someone was saying the other day, since the age of the mobile phone, calculators, our basic arithmetic has just been shot to pieces.
Well, mine was shot to pieces before the invention of the phone, trust me.
I know. But there was something the other day, and I thought I've got to Google it, and I really could have worked it out myself, but I didn't need to.
It is bad, isn't it?
But we sit on computers all day. I mean, your business is based around computer design, right? Graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of graphic designers here.
I know there are.
There's a lot of graphic designers in the world, yeah. How do you stand out in business now? If you've obviously you've been going for 25 years, which is a good sign. What do you do now, or do you just keep doing what you've been doing, or do you have to constantly keep thinking of new ways to reinvent?
You have to, you have to evolve, and it's not easy. When you start in business, you, as you know, you progress into something that you already do. So I was a graphic designer, and I knew nothing else. So logically, I become a business owner of a graphic design company. So you work in the business as a graphic designer. That's what I'm good at. But you don't go to college. Well, you can go to college. I didn't go to college and learn how to be a business owner. I learned how to be a graphic designer. So all that 25 years of all the mistakes and positive things I've done over the years, they've been trial and error. And I've been lucky. But even now, I still don't know really how I've got to where I am, to the point that I've now actually got a business coach.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of it's pretty obvious really when you think about it, and it's stuff that I've done, naturally. But there's stuff out there that I haven't done and I haven't tried. So, yeah, how do you stand out? That's a really good question. Because, it's just that, we now live in a very different world to when I started. I started on a drawing board with cow gum and spray glue and letter set, and it was a completely different thing. And now it's all bang, bang, bang. It's all knocked out on computers, and everything's got to be done yesterday. A double page spread in a brochure back when I started could take a couple of days. Now you can do it in a couple of minutes.
Well, it's interesting because I called you the other week, didn't I? I said, can we build a website in one day?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the pace that everyone wants everything to go now. So I guess you have to be able to accommodate that. No one wants to wait 2 weeks anymore, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, do they?
No, they don't. And it's a problem. And going back to what you were saying about how do you stand out, it's a completely different world now to when I started. But my mindset is kind of still back in the prehistoric days, if you like. So all the social media, podcasts, it's all completely new to me.
Well, I'd argue that podcasting now doesn't really mean you stand out because most people are doing it. So if I'd have done this 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, people would have been like, wow, Alex is doing a podcast. Now it's pretty normal. Like there's so many podcasts to listen to. So it's like, well, what's the next step above that? Then it was having these things filmed, which is caught on. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, well, what's next? It's always moving. I don't know. Do you think you have to stand out, or do you think you can just become really, really good at what you do, and that's where the goal is? It's not necessarily reinventing the wheel or doing something that anyone else hasn't done. It's maybe being the best at it. Even that's a long shot, right? To be the best at what you do. Can you be the best designer in the world?
It's interesting because my business coach is constantly trying to push us into discovering our USP. What is it that makes you stand out? And if I'm honest, I don't know because there's hundreds of good graphic design companies out there. Well,
that's another argument. Do you think you have to have a USP, or can you not just really take good care of your clients?
Well, we do. But
I'm sure.
But then that's not a USP.
No, but that's what it means. You have to have one.
This is my argument.
I mean, what can you have? Unless you go so niche, do you think that's what she's saying?
Well, the only USP I've got is me, because I'm the only person that's me, right?
You are unique.
Yeah, but we all design things. We all are creative. We all give our clients the best service, or we think we do. And you can't really compete on cost. You shouldn't compete on cost.
Well, you did the opposite, right? You smacked your prices up after the business coach, which I think was a good move. Because there's a good argument for that, isn't there? Like, I think when it's a competitive world in business, your instinct is to reduce costs so that people come to you.
Well, you say I smacked my prices up. Let's be realistic. I put them up by 10%, but
which was long overdue, by the way.
I hadn't. The first question she said to me is, "When did you last put your prices up?"
Yeah, don't they reckon it should be yearly in business?
Well, yeah, 24 years in business, I'd never put them up. I was still operating on the same fee basis as I was 24 years ago, and that's crazy.
That is crazy.
But I think that's the way the design industry kind of is. It's kind of been a little bit left behind. The salaries within the design industry aren't where they should be, and I guess that with programs that are very easy to get hold of, I know the Adobe Suite, for example, so Photoshop, everybody knows Photoshop. They can go out and lease it for a few quid, and they have a go. They're all bedroom warriors, and you can get a result out of it. And with the advent of things like Squarespace, with websites and stuff, people can do it themselves. Wix do it. They're all doing it. And, it's getting to a point where everybody can kind of do, to a degree, what we do as a job. But they still don't do it as well.
No, I think that's what I learned from. I built my own website on Squarespace, and you're right, even I could do it, and I'm not very good with technology, but it kind of left me appreciating the expertise of web designers more, I think. Yeah. Because I spent all that time and effort doing it, and then it just looked okay.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
You're paying for the experience of the man that's creating it. It's like saying, well, I could do my own dentistry. I can pull my own teeth out. Give me a pair of pliers. But I would rather a trained dentist do it and get a better result.
Sure, and it's the inconvenience. Like, I think that's what a lot of it. Like your business coach, for example. There's other reasons why you'll be paying her than her advice, right? So accountability is one. That's huge, in fact, isn't it? It's like when you used to come to me for training. After you'd been for a few months, you kind of knew what to do, right? Mm-hmm. But it's having that accountability to show up and do it. That's why with the website with you, I said, can we book in for this date? And I'll bring the information with you and sit and do it. That wasn't so I could watch what you're doing. It's just so that I do the fucking work and bring you it. Otherwise, I won't have the website this year.
Yeah.
And I need one.
No, accountability is huge. For everything, because it's easier not to do something, isn't it?
Of course it is,
So,
especially if it's something you don't like.
yeah.
Like, I hate doing things like copy and websites. I hate it. I hate it. But I still think websites hold a respectable value in a business. I still believe that a good website is important, despite all the social media that's about. I think having a good, clean, crisp website is important.
I agree. I think it's core to any business. I've just had some guys in this morning. We built a website for him probably 2-3 years ago. He folded the business. He's come back. He wants to restart it. And the guy he's set up with has got a current website that's, by his own admission, atrocious. I mean, he's doing okay. He's doing probably more than okay. But even he realises that there's more to be had. If I had a better website,
sure,
and steer people to it, it's your online brochure, isn't it? I mean, back when I started, there were no websites. Obviously, there were no Macs, and it was all about having a good corporate brochure. How many brochures have I done? Corporate brochures in the last 5 years? I could count them on one hand. Literally, nobody does them anymore.
I know there's a good argument that's why you should do leaflet drops now. I heard this good argument the other day saying leaflet drops are pretty powerful now. Not leaflet drops, maybe letters that make you open them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you're going to spend the time to read a letter that comes through your door, you're pretty interested in what it's got to offer. Most will get shredded, of course.
Well,
but how do you stand out? It might be going back to what people used to do 10 years ago that no one does today.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because a guy I know at a business networking event, maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe longer, and he was an older guy. He was probably in his 60s at the time, and he said, "I've got the next big thing to get people to see your business." And this is when email was, around, obviously, and websites were starting to get more commonplace. And he said, fax.
Fax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, you what? He said, fax. He said, we've all got a fax machine.
Yeah.
They're sitting in the corner, there's a plant pot on them, nobody uses them. Imagine what happens if all of a sudden it goes on. The attention that's going to draw. And I'm thinking, I'm not so sure. But,
I've never used fax.
No, well, I didn't.
Never.
But he thought that by going back
Yeah.
to an outdated mode of technology...
Didn't work, right?
No, of course it didn't work.
No, but I still get a letter from... There's a copywriter that I know that sends a letter and it's got like a tea stain on the front. And it's unusual. So it makes you think, well, what the fuck's this? And you open it and it's from him.
Yeah.
And he still sends out monthly newsletters, sends them out.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool. It makes him stand out, that's for sure.
Would you rather have, if you were subscribing to a magazine, would you rather have a physical copy or a digital copy?
Physical.
So, same here.
Even with books now, I can't get on with the Kindle, but there's millions of people that do.
Mm.
I like physical copy.
Even listening to books. The only time I have really to do any, reading in inverted commas is in my car. So I listen on, Audible or whatever, and I listen to these various books. But half of it doesn't go in.
Yeah.
Because if you're actually concentrating on the book, you're not concentrating on your driving. And I have gaps where I've driven and I've had to, and then I think, I completely miss what he or she's just said on the book.
Well, how many times do you think you're just doing one thing throughout the day? Like just one thing?
Oh, well, rarely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, you're either driving to work and listening to a podcast, or even working out now. People work out with podcasts on, or people eat and they work at the same time. It's very rare we do one thing, and we're not really designed to do that, but no wonder I concentrate. What I've noticed is, and being here too, concentration levels are all over the shop. It's carnage up there. Mm-hmm. Carnage.
Mm. I know.
Nobody can concentrate.
Well, that's why I moved, because originally I was up on the mezzanine level, which was great, but there's this constant hum, and the music, which isn't always to my taste. If they're not playing ABBA, I'm not happy. And eventually, it got to a point where I thought I can't concentrate.
Did you not find something similar even when you're on your own? Like your mind wants to wander, and it wants to check socials, and it wants to check emails, and it wants to check your phone. And
you're getting onto my pet hate, which is phones, and they're just the worst thing in the world.
Well, they're not, are they?
Well, okay, they have a function, sure. Their phones, their calculators, their maps, they're a marvel. They're brilliant. And if you went back 30 years and said in 30 years' time you're going to have this, I mean, it's sci-fi stuff.
It is, yeah.
But with that benefit, there's a huge negative.
Well, that's the difficult thing about it, I think, because there's so much bad in it, but there's so much good in it, and I think that's where the challenge comes. It's like, what do you look at first? Do you look at the damage or do you look at the benefit? Because they're both strong. Which one wins?
Well, ultimately the benefits, because otherwise people would be putting their phones away, and they don't. And you say that you're never doing one thing at a time, and that's because you've got your phone with you. You go to the loo, you're on your phone, aren't you? Or it's just a nightmare. Or you're listening to music, or it's always there.
But do you not think that the costs will come later on in life when you look back and you realise you've spent 20 years of it with your head in your phone? So I'm not sure we can work out which one's winning right now. Well, you're right. Clearly, the benefits or the draws to it are winning because everybody's addicted, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, how bad would things have to get before you stop using your phone so much?
But the key word there is addicted. People are addicted to their phones.
It is an addiction, yeah.
And they can't function without them. I was listening to a book on the way in this morning, and it's 21 traits of being successful or something. I can't remember what it's called, but she was talking about exactly that. People are actually addicted to the phone. She lost her phone, and for those few days that she'd lost, initially she went into meltdown, literally went into meltdown. And then a friend pointed out, well, you can do without it. You can get a new one. It's just a phone. And those few days completely freed her up, and she felt so much better, not constantly reaching the phone, not that ping, who's this email from, who's this text from. And when she got her phone back, she made a conscious decision to move away from that. And she would then put a phone in another room at night. So the first thing she did wasn't look at her phones. Everybody looks at their phones. The first thing you do, I mean, I look at my phone because I want to see the time, but inevitably there's a whole list of emails or texts come through, and you're straight on. And that's just it's not healthy. Yeah,
see, I don't do that anymore. I find those strategies good about putting the phone in the other room and stuff, but they always seem really short for me. They're short lasting. Like the phone always wins in the end. In the end. So I can go months by having screen time below 90 minutes and all this, but eventually it will catch me out when I'm at my worst.
Yeah.
So I think you have to make some black and white decisions about what phone you're going to own, whether you're going to have social media on your phone. So I just had to take Facebook off.
Yeah, I've taken Facebook off.
Yeah, because I can't beat Facebook. Facebook beats me. So I decided not to have it.
But this is the problem with any addiction, isn't it? For the negative side, whether it be drugs or alcohol or whatever, there's a massive positive. Otherwise, people wouldn't get addicted to it in the first instance. So, take alcohol, you get drunk, you have a great time. Next morning, you've got a massive hangover.
Yeah.
There's always that trade-off, and it's the same with the phone. All the benefits it comes with, the fact that you're in complete communication all the time.
I'm not sure the hangover comes though, Terry. That's the thing. I don't think you have like this punishing. I don't think the punishment will come till later when you look back over your life. I think that's the scary thing with alcohol. Like the very next day, you're like, oh, I feel like shit. I shouldn't have done that. You don't really get that with the phone. Like you continue to do it, and it's almost like you're so spaced out that you don't even come out of the addiction. You're in it all of the time. And it's only when you lose your phone do you realise, oh my God, I haven't got my phone.
No, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like she had to do that to realise.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, are people ever going to put their phone down for 3 days? No. So it's
I've heard that there are families that put their phone in a jar, in a lockbox, when they have their meals. My daughter works in a nursery. I know they take their phones off them, which, you can't have people functioning in their job and doing their job 100% if they're on their phone. It's I don't know. I think you'd be better off just going back to having a phone.
I was speaking to Mark earlier, the Explorer guy. I think you always need reasons not to be on it though. I think us just saying don't be on your phone too much is just really poor advice. It's like, well, what can I do in my life that's going to make me not spend more time on my phone? Because like if you're a teenager or even an adult and you're sitting on the sofa from 6 till 10 p.m, you get home from work, like why wouldn't you scroll your phone? Like, what's better to do?
It's just
Because life's more exciting if you've got Instagram and you're seeing other exciting things happening on your phone than it is not to have that and do nothing, right? So it's like, do you think you can be the kind of person that creates enough excitement and purpose in your life to not do that?
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying, but it kind of goes back to the pace of life, doesn't it? You know, everybody wants everything immediately, and the phone gives you that. Whereas back in the day, you'd go home, you'd watch a bit of TV, you'd go to bed, you'd get up in the morning, you'd go to work, and you would talk with your friends. What did you watch on TV last night? Whatever. Now, everybody knows what everybody's doing because it's constantly posted on social media. It's just the whole pace of life is completely and utterly different.
Yeah, I was driving here this morning at like 6:45, and 7:15 is the new what I remember rush hour used to be at like 8:45.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I've got this terrible cold hanging on. Now rush hour is 7:15, 7:30. Yeah, it was like carnage on that M40 this morning. I was like, it's just a rat race, but I'm part of it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm part of it. I'm part of the mobile phone usage. I've got social media. I've got accounts. I post daily. I'm part of the game.
But you know, one man's not going to make a difference, isn't it? If you pull out of that, and so you know, I'm not going to use a phone because there are phones now that are like retro phones that are literally just phones you can buy.
Yeah, there's they're built for kids' first
dumb
phone.
phones or something.
Yeah, there's another company. They're designed specifically to give to your teenagers as their first phone.
Yeah.
So because a lot of the debate is, well, like, you know, my son or daughter might need me. So it's like, well, here's a solution. Here's a phone that you can only text and call on. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're wrong. I think if you pull out, it affects your life and your world. So if I'm not on social media, my whole world's changed.
Yours has, but nobody else.
Yeah, but by definition, mine has. But I think the only way you'll change the world is by the individual taking responsibility. There's no other way.
No, that's what I'm saying. If I were to pull away from social media completely, it just goes on. It's not going to. Everybody's got to do it. I genuinely think that at some point, it's going to come with a government health warning like cigarettes and alcohol. I really do, because it's just not good. I've seen my kids grow up who are, you know, late teens, early 20s now. And initially it was gaming. With my son, it was all about gaming. He spent all his time on his PlayStation. I'm like, go and play football. I am playing football. But you're not. Yeah, I'm playing with my friends. No, I mean, physically go and kick a ball. And he's moved away from that as the phone has taken over and gaming on phones, and it's more social media now. I mean, gaming's still huge, obviously, but he's moved away. But he's still not doing what I would consider to be, you know, what I did as a kid.
I know, but who brought this generation up?
Well, yeah, I know. But
Us. So we've got to be careful that we're not the dads and the men that say, listen, son, you need to eat well, you need to go outside and get fresh air and play, when we're sat there fucking 4 stone overweight watching TV on our phone. We've got to be careful, haven't we? It's what I mean about the individual. So what you do won't just impact you, it'll impact you, it'll impact your entire family. It'll impact your kids, and they'll have an impact on who they're... Do you know what I mean? So there is a big compound effect that we probably don't realise.
Only if they follow suit. I don't believe for 1 second that if I threw my phone away tomorrow that anybody I know would do the same. They just look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, but I don't also believe it's about that. I think it would benefit you, therefore it would benefit your actions. I'd find it hard to debate you wouldn't have a better relationship with people, if you threw your phone away.
Yeah, possibly. But even the phone companies themselves, like Apple, have introduced this screen time graph, haven't they?
It's bullshit.
Well, but they recognise that people are out there that want to perhaps rein back and look at, oh gosh, I've been on...
Do you think that's why they're doing it? Or do you think there's been certain pressures? Do you really think they want people spending less time on the phone, Apple?
No, of course they don't.
No, nor the Facebook, nor the Insta.
But they've done it for a reason. They've done it, I think, because it's kind of out there. It's like veganism, for example. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Veganism's the big buzz thing, so all the companies are going, we're doing vegan. Apple have done the same thing. They've realised that parents generally of my generation are concerned how long that their children are spending on the phones, and so they've introduced something. So look, here you go, Now you can measure how long they're being on the phone. So the parent can go, "Oh, you've been on this for so long." Ultimately, it's not going to change anything.
I think they know that. I think that's why they've done it.
They do, but they're playing the game, aren't they?
Yeah, I think publicly it makes them look good.
Exactly.
But I think they know that. So what? It's probably the smallest thing they could do. That's not going to have any influence, but it makes them look like the good guys. Yeah, for sure. And like you say, social media want you spending more time, not less.
Yeah.
And they know that, and they're going to do all the tricks to do it. And it's hard. Like you say, I'm a grown-ass man, and I still find it hard to not get sucked into the world of YouTube.
Are you on TikTok?
I've never, ever been on TikTok.
Not me.
No, I refuse.
Not all my friends, several of my friends are saying, "Oh, you got to get TikTok. It's great."
No.
I won't do it.
No, nor will I.
Won't do it.
I'm not even tempted. I'm not even interested.
No.
I don't sit there and go, I wonder what this TikTok is and how it can help my business. There's one platform that I don't use, LinkedIn, but I find it so dull and boring.
I've recently engaged with that.
Yeah, if I was a professional, if I was a fucking serious businessman, I'd probably be on LinkedIn, but I'm clearly not. It's just, but I can see the benefits of that one.
Well, it's the place. People call it the Facebook for business and stuff. It's not.
Just move a little closer to that.
It's the logical place for a business to go. For my business, I mean, Facebook's completely hopeless for me.
Yeah, that seems to have lost its way lately. Facebook, Instagram seems to have took over, TikTok, and then for the professionals, there's something called Slack here.
Yeah.
I'm not on it. I just can't handle it anymore.
I'm on it. I don't understand it.
Kat always says, get on Slack, and I'm like, I just can't I haven't got any more capacity to do social media. I can just about manage what I do.
Yeah.
And even that I really despise, and I don't think I do a very good job of it.
Well, it's got to a point now where I'm actually actively looking to take somebody on to do my social media and to bring into the company to do social media for other people, because it's such a big area.
If your USP is you, though, how do you translate you by getting someone else to do it? This is where I'm lost. I'm like, okay, it's my voice, it's my message. I want to direct where this goes. Because what I ended up doing, Terry, was writing the posts for someone to schedule and I was like, well,
you're dead right. You're dead right.
I might as well fucking do it and save myself money.
I had this. I've had clients come to me and say, I want you to do my social media. Well, I don't really do that. But if I can make your post look nice, and I can do nice graphics, and I can write a little bit. So I was happy to do it. But like you say, ultimately, the information will still come from the client. So they send me something, I make it look pretty and put it on Facebook or where it wants to go.
Yeah.
It's a bit daft. So what you need to do is you need to have an in into the company. You need to go in on a regular basis, potentially talk to the staff, find out what's going on. You need to live the business. So it is an odd one, social media, for doing it for somebody else. But I mean, the person I'm bringing is to do my social media initially, but ultimately, I'll probably release it off to certain other.
So I'm working really hard on my social is to say what I think, but it's harder than you would imagine. Like if I really so you almost have to put on a persona, and then it's hard to get away from that persona. So I always think my posts are quite polite.
Polite? That'd be the day.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a little bit of a polished version of me. It's not how I would speak.
It's like your telephone voice.
Yeah, exactly that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, there's something not sitting right on social media for me at the minute. It's like I'm scared to say what I really want to say.
Why?
Well, one, I know I don't want it to come across cold, and I think on text it can. So me and you can have this conversation about something really difficult, and with my tone, I can show some empathy and understanding, and I find it harder to produce via text. Because part of me just wants to say, guys, some of us just need to toughen the fuck up, get the fuck to the gym, stop fucking moaning. And part of me really believes that. But you can't just keep spewing that. It sounds hateful and cold. But underlying, that's kind of what I believe. I think if every guy got themselves into shape, depression rates would probably smash by 50%.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it's kind of, well, there you go. You know what to do. You sit here and talk all day.
But everybody knows what to do. That's the shooting. Nobody doesn't know how to get in shape.
No, you're right.
To a degree.
Well, we all know that there's things that we could do that are better for us, right? So we all know that walking each day, running, some push-ups, some sit-ups. Yeah, you're right.
Move more, eat less.
Yeah.
Well, everyone knows that, but nobody actually does it. But that goes back to the accountability. When I came to you, 6 years ago, maybe, when I first did the man's plan with you, that was a joke. for me.
You got into good shape in the end.
In the end, after 3 years.
But it's the problem with accountability, Terry, is it's tiring for the person holding you accountable after a while.
Yeah, no.
And eventually, what I think about accountability is it has a shelf life. So if I'm still having to keep you accountable after 3 years, it's like, you don't want to do it.
No, you can't. No. But, it's for me to go somewhere where there were people, like-minded people,
sure, yeah, and
be trained by someone like you, who, not blowing sunshine up your ass, but yeah, I know, I'll put them away. It's relatively, I use the word loosely, relatively inspirational. I don't like you.
Hold on.
No.
You say that again.
What? That I don't
okay,
like
there's
you.
a mirror there, right? And you can have my physique or your physique. Which one would you pick?
Which one would my fiancée prefer?
I fucking know which one she'd prefer.
I know which one too.
Which one?
Mine.
No. Who told you that?
She did.
Right.
100%.
Get her on the phone right now. I bet she's lying to you.
She'll be busy. She's not. I don't believe it.
Of course she's going to say that. Terry, baby. Yeah, I love a little bit of the dad bod. And yeah, of course. She don't want to hurt your feelings.
She does. She's got no problem with hurting my feelings. No,
so if you went to your missus and said, look, I really want to get myself into shape. I'd love to build a little bit of muscle and lose some fat. Do you think she'd go, no. No, I don't want a stronger man. I don't want a leaner man.
No, she probably doesn't.
Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on this one.
I don't know. I don't want to get into this conversation.
Why?
It might lead somewhere else. That's what she says. I mean, it's a preference thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, I felt happy at the end of our journey.
Yes, and you should have. You worked really hard.
Wow.
No. At the end, you started to get it.
Yeah,
because you were showing up. That was the thing. So I think eventually you realised that you might as well work hard.
Yeah. Well, I was showing up with a bag of donuts, though, wasn't I? That's
one time. Yeah, you were the only person that came to a nutrition talk that I did with a bag of crisps.
It was a bag of donuts.
Was it a bag of donuts?
Yeah.
I could hear someone munching in the back. I was like, I swear someone's eating. I looked round. I think you had.
I did actually have crisps as well.
Yeah, you had crisps. And
I think there's some chocolate in there as well.
Yeah, it turns up to a nutrition talk eating that. I could have thrown you out the fucking window, seriously.
Character building.
Well, but eventually, like I say, I think guys get to the point where if they start seeing the results, they're like, yeah, actually, this is all right. And you got to that stage.
Yeah.
You got to the stage where you took a selfie in a towel in the bathroom. That's how confident you got. And you looked, I look back and go, fucking hell, you did really get yourself into good nick there.
Yeah, I know. And I'm only 7 pounds heavier now than I was back then.
What I love about it is that who you have to become to get that physique. You have to be a disciplined, dedicated, determined, hardworking man. So it's not about, I look great. It's more about that's the example I believe we can all set as men to the younger nation, to the younger crew.
No, I agree. I mean, it is about discipline. Like business is about discipline.
Sure. Yeah.
Getting fit's about discipline. Sport's about discipline. And I do have discipline in me.
Of course.
But I fight against it.
You're a 3rd degree black belt.
I am.
Martial artist. You don't get that without having discipline. You don't have a business that's survived and thrived for 25 years without discipline. So it's within all of us. But you could flip it back to me and go, well, Alex, your business could be so much better if you were disciplined in the area of business. And I know that. I know that I should send 2 to 3 emails every week. I haven't done it consistently ever. So in that area, I'm ill-disciplined. One
of the key phrases that my business coach is constantly saying is, what you focus on is what grows.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's the discipline side, isn't it? If you're focusing on something else, you've got 50% here and 50% there. You're only going to get 50% in both areas.
Yeah.
But it's not possible to focus 100% on anything. It's just not.
No, but I think we can do better. But I think part of that is having a goal big enough to know why you're doing the small stuff. So if we just create this life where it's disciplined and it's task and it's ticking off goals, ticking off to-do lists and stuff, I think that's fine. But as long as it's working towards a bigger picture thing. So I don't know what you've got planned for the next 5 or 10 years, or how you want your life to look, how you want your business to look. But I think it's a good idea that we know that, so that we understand why we're remaining disciplined today.
No, you've got to have a goal. And again, going back to my business coach, the first thing she said to me is, what's your goal?
What is your goal with Ghost?
I don't know. I didn't know then. I've got a better understanding now of it. But
is it based on financial, or because that would make sense? It's a business, right?
Ultimately, anybody goes into business to make money.
Mhm.
You know, it sounds cold, and I know the British don't like talking about money, but it's true. If I didn't want to be in business to make money, I would be working for somebody else.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's not the only thing.
So what do you know now that you didn't know before you had the business coach in terms of direction, how you, like, because I know you mentioned like having, like, was it a Friday where you didn't work or one?
Yeah.
So you're doing a 4-day week, right?
Not now.
That 5?
I'm still doing 5 days a
Right.
week, but that was part of my plan to get down to maybe 4 days a week.
Okay.
I work 2 days from home, work 3 days here. So that's a better life-work balance, just the fact that I'm at home. I'm not saying I don't work at home, I do. But it doesn't quite feel like being at work when you're working from home.
Different pace. In your pyjamas as well, dressing gown, yeah?
I haven't got any pyjamas.
Oh, you're a naked sleeper?
Yeah.
You work naked as well? Don't tell me you work naked. Don't build my website naked.
I can't promise you.
No, please. It'll be tarnished. My website
I did get caught once.
What, naked?
I was working at home, at a previous home, and had a studio bolted on the side, and it was like a Tupperware box. It was like Japanese screens was the idea around it, so you could get lots of light in, but you couldn't see in. You could see silhouettes, and you could see colour, but you couldn't see in. And I nipped downstairs one early morning, and I thought I'll just check my emails.
Naked?
Well, yeah, you walk around your house naked, don't you?
No, I wouldn't check emails naked. No.
Well, I did. I haven't done it since, and an email led to something else, to something else, to something else. Next thing you know, you've been sat there for the best part of an hour,
Done an 8-hour shift,
and there's a knock at the door, and you think, oh God, what do you do?
Not open it.
Well, obviously I didn't open it, but yeah, it's.
Who was at the door? Do you know?
Well, actually, I said once. It happened twice. Once was what are they called? Not the Samaritans.
Jehovah's
Witness.
Yeah.
They one, and one was the client.
The Jehovah's Witness thing would have been quite funny to open the door naked.
Yeah, probably would have been.
And actually, the client thing might have been an ex-client after that.
I don't know.
Yeah. So going forward, then, like 5 years' time, where do you need to be, and where does Ghost need to be for it to, I guess, be for you to be happy with your progress?
Well, I mean, next year will be 25 years in business, and it's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, it's gone down. It's been consistent. You know, it's a good business. You'd consider it, I guess, a successful business, depending on how you judge success. I guess I got to a point, probably when I got to 50, actually, in many sort of areas, but one in business, thinking, well, I could just cruise the way I'm going, and I'll be able to retire in maybe 10 years' time, and I'll have an okay life. Or I can put my foot on the gas and really go for it and see where it could go. And I thought, well, you know, if I do retire and I haven't done that, I'm going to look back and go, gosh, what could that have been?
Yep. Do you feel like that about life, though? Like, how old are you now?
56, 57.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure.
56, 57.
Not sure.
Yeah, do you not
maths again, isn't it?
Like, I spoke to Mark earlier. Again, I've referred to him a few times just because he's been in today, you know, and he's done all these expeditions, and he's like, I'm satisfied with what I've done, and I'm like, I'm nowhere near that yet. And I'm like, I don't want to get to his age. He's 56 and still feel like I'm not satisfied. So do you feel satisfied with what you've done in business and in just personal life?
Yeah, I do feel satisfied, but I know there's more. You know, it's like you can have a nice meal, can't you, and think, oh, that's nice, but there's still room for pudding. So, and I think there's still room for pudding in my life. You know,
what's pudding in your life now?
I think just grow the business. I said to the guys when we came here about 10 months ago, and we walked past the big room up on the mezzanine, and I said, 5 years we'll be in there, and we're not, but we came downstairs. We're now in one of the little glass offices, which is, you know, a step up probably from where we were.
Sure.
Just incremental things, just move it forward, take some more people on. I want to change the business. You know, we do a lot of work in a specific area, and it's been good to me. We do a lot of agricultural work, and it's been really, really good. It's had its ups and downs. I mean, COVID didn't affect it. So for my business, we had a bumper year over the COVID period, but then go back a few years, we had foot and mouth, and that decimated it. So but I'm very aware that we don't have all eggs in one basket. We've got a lot of eggs in one basket, and there's things I would perhaps rather be doing. You know, if you said to me, do you want to do a brochure for chickens or do you want to do it for Lamborghinis? I know which one I'd rather do. So go and see what I can find. Let's see. You know, if you can do what you really love. I love design. I love the process. Sometimes dealing with people and clients can be awkward. But if I'm going to design something, I may as well design something I'm interested in.
So does that come into the bracket of growth then for you? So
yeah,
the growth of business mean even if the finances are perhaps the same, I'm doing more of the work that I love, that would be good growth? Or is it all about now I'm going to be retiring in 5 to 10 years, it needs to be beneficial for me financially so that I can live a good, comfortable life?
I don't honestly see myself retiring.
We're still young, right? Like 56 is a bit of a weird age to retire. And then always, like, the amount of people I've met at the gym, in the sauna, right? These old guys, and they're all like, I'm so bored. I retired 2 years ago. I don't know what to fucking do with myself. And they wish they'd never retired.
Yeah.
Or they wish they'd have found something else to do
first.
Yeah.
It's like the monkey syndrome. Don't let go of the branch you're on until you get hold of another one.
And they're all saying, like, I feel like I've aged more in 2 years not doing much than I have. And do you remember Martin Clayton at the King? Yeah, you remember King.
The big guy.
No, he was looked like Ben Kingsley. That's what we call him, King. He's a really nice guy. Anyway,
no, I don't.
He was telling me a story of somebody who we used to work with who had been saving for this round the world trip, and they were going to do it when they retired, and they saved and saved and saved. And I might have got this slightly wrong, but it's not far off. Literally, he retired, and within a week, he died.
Really?
Yeah. And his point was that, like, a lot of people will put everything to the back burner of their life, do the things that they want to do when they hit a certain age, and it's like, it's a dangerous game to play. I heard this story the other day, and some guy said, with your money, you should spend half of it like you're going to live for 50 days, and the other half like you're going to live for 50 years. And I thought, that is a really good way of thinking about it.
Who told you that? Your bank manager?
No. It was some guy, and I can't remember who it was. But I thought that was a pretty smart
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
way. Because I get stuck in that trap sometimes of like, should I just keep saving and saving? And I'm not saving for what? But then I don't want to be old and broke.
No. I mean, talking about the guy that died, I mean, it's a similar thing. I would work, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I think that's wood. You know, I've never had any major issues. But I would work through the year, and 9 times out of 10 at Christmas, I get a cold because I just stop. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. You know, if you stop doing what you do all the time, it's going to have a negative effect.
I didn't know whether it was because I stopped that I always get a cold at Christmas, or because I eat so much junk and eat and drink, and my body's just not used to it.
I
still feel.
I do that all year long. So
yeah, I always get it. Like, even now, you can hear my throat a little bit. I've had a bit of a chesty cough and a cold and stuff, and that's why I couldn't do last week. But I think it's more the fact that I eat like absolute shite.
You do eat shit, don't you?
Not much.
I've seen what you post.
Yeah,
Pizzas and stuff. You're a Ninja Turtle deep down, aren't you? You love your pizza.
Oh yeah. What I should get better at is posting all the other healthy meals that I consume.
I've seen that as well.
But I find that boring.
Yeah,
like today I brought Tupperware here. I had pineapple and a protein shake for breakfast.
That's not breakfast.
No, I'm eating light today because I'm not moving. And then I had 4 eggs with feta cheese, broccoli, and kale for lunch, like a scramble with parmesan cheese on top of brown sauce. That was nice.
Sounds
Tonight
lovely.
I've got chicken, rice, and vegetables. That's it. But I'm not posting that on Instagram. It's fucking boring.
It is.
So I'll wait until Saturday when I go Middle and Carter's.
What's your take on fasting?
Before I would have said it's ridiculous, but there's some go-to people that I have. One of them's Alan Huberman, and he thinks it's brilliant, mainly for the rest that it gives your digestive system.
Yeah. And while your digestive system's resting, your system's working on cleaning up and...
Sure. Energy, I always assumed not eating with poor energy. And actually, like, it's the opposite way around. If you keep feeding your stomach and giving it loads to do, that's when you feel tired.
Yeah.
You actually feel quite energized. So I don't have... I know it sounds like it's ridiculous, but I don't actually eat breakfast now till 10 a.m, which is, like, I can't believe I can do that because I used to hate being hungry. It's just normal now, so I eat between 10 and 6. Still eat the same amount of food, really, but I have between 6 p.m. and 10 a.m. just not feeding it, because I've traditionally had really bad stomach issues and stuff like that.
Well, I rarely have breakfast. I know everyone says, "Oh, you got to eat breakfast." It's the
Well, that's the problem with the
middle of
fitness
day.
thing, Terry. Like they used to say, you have to have breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. Now they're saying, don't have breakfast.
No.
So it changes their mind all the time.
Yeah, exactly. But it gives your body. So you eat at 8 o'clock at night, and that gives your body all that time overnight, and then right up till midday to do good things.
Yes.
To not digest food.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't miss it.
No.
I don't miss breakfast. I don't get up starving. I'm not saying I always do it. I do have breakfast periodically, but honestly, I don't miss it.
And it makes getting in shape easier because what it's saying is just don't eat for 16 hours. So as long as you don't eat like an absolute pig between those 8 hours, you've probably got a better chance of losing a bit of weight because that's what it is. You reduce your calorie intake a little bit. So no, I'm on board with it. I never thought I would be, but yeah, I think as I've aged, I've realised there's like 4 plus 4 is 8, so is 6 plus 2, so is 7 plus 1. There's so many ways of getting the same outcome.
Yeah.
I used to be very much like, you've got to do it like this. Now I'm like, do you know what? No, you don't. You can do it many ways. But they all have one thing in common, and that's the traits that you need. So the discipline, the consistency, the effort. So no matter what route you go down, you've got to fucking try hard.
Yeah.
So that's where I encourage the better men guys to put their efforts into becoming someone who can work hard. Because you need that no matter what strategy you take.
And I think when I did the first man's plan with you, I didn't work hard. I came, I saw, I understood, but I kind of did, but particularly around the nutrition side, I didn't.
Yeah, it frustrated me. I'm like, why wouldn't you? You paid me, it was like 700 quid at the time or 650 or something. I was like, why wouldn't you fucking try hard? It never made sense to me.
It's just me.
I think we had I think you develop roles though. You become like, you were like the Joker of the group, right? And then I was the PT that would wall up the Joker, and I think we had that bit of banter, and we always got on, so it was good fun. But I think really I should have pulled you to the side and said, actually, Terry, you're spending all this money. Like, you'll enjoy it more if you have a laugh and work really hard.
I think second time round I got it.
That's what I mean. It's a credit to you. You stuck with it. So I think, like, let's face it, there were times where you worked hard, and I think you just worked a bit harder every single week that passed. You worked a little bit harder.
I nearly passed out one week.
Yeah, I remember. I think that happens to pretty much most people who train with me.
Yeah, I didn't manage the sick bucket.
I don't mind people throwing up, but when they're about to pass out, that freaks me out. Or they hold their heart or something. Touch wood again. You've done the touch wood thing today. I've never had anyone have any kind of like heart issues when I've been training them. I've had someone get vertigo and can't get up off the floor. That was pretty scary. But apart from that, I've got a good track record.
Yeah.
I'm a good PT. I wouldn't mind going back into it just for a couple of clients. I enjoy it.
I
I
don't
miss
know why
it.
you don't.
Well, now it's more a facility thing because I've sold the gym.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, if you go pure gym, there you go, right, well, you got to do 20 hours of cleaning for us and stuff like that. But I think I found somewhere in my area that I can just pay a chunk of money and I can just go and train a couple of people. And I've been approached by this girl at the gym. She's a big girl and she wants some help. And I thought, I'd like to get my teeth like sunk into that challenge of helping someone do something transformational because I do miss it. It's hard to find a better way to get the best out of someone other than physical exercise. It's such a good way to unleash your best.
Yeah.
Isn't it? If I took Josh, for example, and I trained him for 12 weeks, it's so easy to get the best out of him in that environment.
Yeah. And I think when you're in shape, everything else kind of falls into place as well.
I think, well, you just feel better.
Yeah.
So by definition, like, you have a better outlook on life, and it kind of sets a standard for how you do other things.
Like with me, I mean, I know I need to lose a few pounds. I know that, and I'm kind of working on it. But it gives you a negative mindset. Oh, I need to get rid of this stomach. I look horrible. I don't like it. Oh, I can't tie my shoelaces and all the rest of it. And while you're being negative, it has an effect elsewhere. So if you get rid of that, spare tire, and you can tie your shoelace up, that's one less problem to think about.
Yeah, even that language of like, oh, it's gathering around my stomach. We need to change that for like, well, what can I do to make this better? Because then it will lead to hopefully some action. Because you can speak like that for years. Go, oh, I need to lose some weight. Well, if you needed to, you would. Yeah,
no, that's right. That's it.
And you don't, to be fair, mate. You don't need to. Like, you might have this little voice in the back that says, yeah, you should, but you don't need to. I mean, you're all right. You're not going to fucking drop dead like because of your weight over the next year.
No, I know that. I know, but so I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were saying that this positive affirmation thing, and you think good things, and good things will happen, which to a degree may or may not be right, but ultimately it's not the thinking about it; it's the doing.
Think about getting in shape all day.
Exactly.
It ain't going to fucking happen.
Exactly. So many people are saying, I need to lose weight, but they do nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed a real again, this is with the social media thing. I'm trying not to take to social media to air my frustrations, but there's so many undisciplined and poorly committed men out there now. I was speaking to someone yesterday about joining the program, right? And he was a really nice guy. And but the end result was he ghosted me rather than just say, Alex, it's not for me. And I just thought, it's not about me getting the sale across the line and getting the money in my bank account. I just think there's some old-fashioned traditions that just go, instead of ghosting me, just say, Alex, it's not for me, but thank you anyway. Do you know what I mean? Just those little basic things. It's so easy to hide now, and it's so easy to act in a way that I would not consider with integrity. And I think they're important for men, especially.
We're back to mobile phones again. They've facilitated that.
Yeah, I don't think we can blame. Well,
yeah, you can. I'm going to.
You're big into it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I can see the damage that it's done and does. Yeah, but I don't think I'd like to blame my own behaviours and downfalls on that, because I think it takes responsibility away from me. So if I was to say I'm this way because of my phone, I'm blaming the phone, which is great because it takes me away from looking at me.
Yeah, I'm not. It facilitates it. It isn't the reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, the user's the issue, but it allows you to be ignorant or whatever it might be.
But there's get-outs everywhere now in life, isn't there? Food is a good example. There's get-outs everywhere of how I mean, it's much easier to not eat healthy than it is eat healthy, right? Mm-hmm. Much. So there's get-outs in every area. It's whether you choose to engage in them. I still think it comes back to having a reason not to do that stuff. I think you've got to find something worth living for in life that requires you to be the man that doesn't do those things that we're talking about. That's why this explorer's really got into my head.
You're going to go on Everest or something next.
Well, I spoke to him about the South Pole, yeah.
The South Pole?
Yeah. But he's the 8th person in history to do it, 700-mile walk. But do you not like the concept of having one mission and one mission only in life, and that's all you do?
Yeah, no, it'd be great,
isn't it?
To be able to focus on one thing.
That's what I mean.
In a world where attention's taken by dozens of things all the time, and even when you're in a situation like this, you're probably thinking, "Gosh, I'm looking forward to my chicken and rice later," or whatever it might be. But to be that focused on one thing, yeah, that'd be great. I went on holiday, was it last year? I went to Barbados on holiday. Beautiful place. And
business doing well then, huh?
It was a COVID deal. I tell you what, the deals were to be there to be had over COVID because they couldn't shift them. Yeah. Honestly, it was ridiculously cheap. Anyway, we ended up on this beach, and it was a beach where the turtles would come and they would, lay eggs and what have you. And I was desperate to find a baby turtle, desperate. And we would go down onto the beach at night with our phones, ironically, looking on that with our torches, yeah. And eventually, after a couple of nights, we found one. And the issue is that the shore is obviously littered with light, and the turtles gravitate towards light. So rather than going towards the moon and going out to sea, they go the other way, and they're butting up against the wall. And I found one. I thought, I'm going to save it. And I picked it up. Couldn't believe how strong it was. I mean, it was no bigger than a matchbox, but God, it was powerful. Took it down, let it go. So in my mind, I've saved a turtle. But where I'm getting to with this is that I thought, how brilliant to just dedicate even some time to going and doing something like that. Just rather than go on holiday and lie on a beach, go and do something worthwhile. Go and save turtles. Because there were a couple of guys and girls walking up the beach with buckets, and they were picking them up during the day and putting them back in the sea. And it's just really simple thing, making a difference. And to give back. No,
I totally understand what you're saying, and you're so right. And I wonder what takes us off that path. Do we get lost? Do we just get beat up in life? Do we just not see past our own needs? Because you're right. Like I feel so good when I'm in town buying the people that are sleeping rough a cup of tea. It's not a big deal, but I can't really articulate how good it feels. Like it feels like my problems shrink into insignificance. Like when you're putting that turtle back in the water, I get it. It's such a good feeling, and it's not a big deal, is it?
No.
It doesn't feel like a big deal.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
But it's a giving thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So somebody said the other day that it's the old adage, isn't it? It's better to give than receive, but it actually makes you feel better.
It's true.
At Christmas when I was a kid, it was all about take. What I've got. I've got a new bike. I've got this. I've got that. And even now, my kids are like, oh, it's still all about that.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Yeah.
Now it's about giving.
Yeah.
And seeing what that gift does. You know,
yeah.
Giving pleasure to somebody else.
It's exciting, isn't it? You know, when you've got your presents lined up to give to people. I like that. I really like that. Yeah. It was weird. I was having a therapy session because I haven't had enough therapy in my life. Fucking hell. I've had like...
We've all been there.
Oh, mate. Yeah, but most people, you go, yeah, I had 6 weeks of therapy. I'm on like year 10. Anyway, we're talking about the difficulties sometimes to create a vision. You know, when you're in your 30s, 40s or 50s, because I was saying I'm having a bit of a trouble thinking what I want from life. And I said some of the guys the same that I work with, you know, they've kind of lost the ability to think outside of what they currently do. So it's like me saying to you, outside of Ghost, Terry, what does life look like? You might go, I don't know, I haven't really. Do you know what I mean? It becomes difficult. And he kind of took me back to childhood of like, well, like what really excited you as a child. And often it's those little things that you've just talked about. It's adventure, it's giving, it's being kind, it's seeing parts of the world. For me, it was always being around dogs. Like I was just always had that. And he's like, sometimes the answers are so obvious, you're just not doing the things that you know are kind of within you that you really want to do with your life. It's like, fucking hell, is it that simple? So that was quite cool to trace back. I think that's a good tip. Like, why did you start your business, for example? It's a good question.
Why did I start it?
Yeah, because I always ask business guys who come to me and they're stressed the fuck, and I always ask them, and they always say, because I wanted to be able to do what I want with my time, spend more time with my kids, and then you ask them what they've got, no time, don't see their kids.
Exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have kids when I started my business, so that wasn't.
Why did you start Ghost then?
I started because I had an absolute arsehole of a manager, frankly. Biggest fucking dick. I'd love it if he's listening to this.
Well, you want to thank him, really.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I should. I was working for a company in Leamington, and
What was the company? We can call them out.
oh, they're gone. It was
Okay.
called The Connection, and it, to my mind, it grew too quickly. It took on lots of people, and the work wasn't really there to support it. And they ended up selling the company to a print company, who, ironically, I'd basically sacked about a month before. They'd done a print job. It was awful. And I said, look, I'm really sorry, but I can't put your work in front of my clients. I'm not going to use you going forward. It was awkward, but I did it. And then imagine my surprise when the new MD of the company walks in, and it's the guy that I got rid of. So that's a twist. So he made my life pretty bad, and he put a manager in place. He was an absolute arsehole.
You get some of those.
I was out visiting a client first day, and I got a phone call from him, and these were pre-arranged appointments with clients, and he phoned me and said, "Where are you?" I said, "I've just been at the NFU actually, but I'm on my way in." Good. I want to see you when you come in. First I'd met him, walked in, sat me down, said, "Very disappointed that you weren't here when I came in this morning on my first day," and basically put me on report.
Or roll the red carpet out, is that what he wanted?
Honestly, and he wanted me in every day, early. He was going to walk me through. He wanted to come to see all my clients.
Yeah, some bosses are dicks like that. I think it's a bit of a power trip kind of thing. But it is good to have a dick boss, because it can push you to doing what you just said. Like, I never want to experience that again. Do you reckon you've ever been called a dick boss, though, by any of your... Because I know for sure I have. Yeah.
They know I'm a dick.
Being a boss is hard, though.
But I'm not a nasty dick.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He was vindictive. He threatened me with bodily violence.
Yeah, I like him.
He didn't know my background, though, did he? So, but yeah, he was a dick.
Oh, that's true. You were a black belt at the time. You should have came in wearing your black belt.
Yeah, but he was a rugby referee, apparently that trumps all things as a rugby referee. I don't know.
Rugby referee versus a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. Because assuming you had a decent kick.
He was only little. Even I could reach him. But no, it's no, I don't. I think my I am what I am. I don't put on airs and graces in my business.
That's one thing I will say about you, which is a quality. I think you are who you are.
Well, you don't have to pretend. If you're pretending to be somebody else, what's the point? You may as well be yourself. And I think probably when I was younger, I perhaps did try and pretend to be somebody else, but now I certainly don't.
Yeah, I think that's age talking.
Yeah.
And your generation, I think it's harder for current generations to have that attitude because, like you say, most of it is lived via social. So you kind of create a persona and who you want to be and stuff like that.
I think I would rather deal with somebody that's genuine than somebody that's pretending to be something else.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because if you've got faults and flaws, there's an argument to say that you should spend some of your time trying to fix some of those things so you're a better human. So by definition, is that not arguing the fact that, well, who you are isn't always a good thing?
Well, I don't think nobody's good all the time, are they? Everyone's got flaws. It's just a case of trying to work on those flaws if you possibly can. But I'm lucky. My guys have no problem calling me out. You know, if I say something or do something and they think it's wrong, they'll tell me. Whereas I know so many people who work for other people wouldn't dare, question what the boss has said.
Yeah. Well, that's not good, is it?
No, it's awful. I mean, it's a collaborative thing, particularly in a small company like mine. You can't have that hierarchy. I don't even like being called the boss. I'm just one of the team, and that's kind of the way I.
How many team members you got now? 2.
It's 2 of myself. Yeah.
Yeah, so a team of 3, 2 guys, right?
Yeah, on the verge of taking another one on.
Oh, cool.
So
you're gonna get a woman in the PC, balance it out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
I think you'll have to, mate. Otherwise, you'll be accused soon.
Yeah. Well.
This workforce needs to be balanced, Terry.
Does it?
No, it doesn't. It's absolute garbage. It's like surely whoever fits the role and is good for the job, right?
Absolutely,
100%. I can't stand all this.
These big companies that have to fill quotas.
Bullshit.
One of my mates works for a big high street bank, and he has to fulfill quotas when employing. And it's not about the best person for the job. Could you imagine if that was like a football team or a Formula One team? Yeah, we're going to employ, a particular type of person just to fill a quota, not because they're the best at the job.
Well, I don't think, let's say there was an opportunity available and they needed to get a guy in because there was too many women. I don't think the guy would want the job and vice versa, the girl would want the job either, just to balance numbers. I think they'd want the job on merit, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would anyway. I wouldn't just want to be thrown in because I make category fit. I'd rather get the job because actually, Alex, you're the best one at that interview.
Oh. Well, this guy's telling you about, I know he's been through processes where he's interviewed and taken someone on, and then the powers above him said, well, why have you taken, we were after a woman, let's say. They go, we had no female candidates.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? If people, your target audience or, the tick box exercise don't apply for the job, what are we supposed to do?
Well, there's a lot of extremes out there now. So there's some extreme feminists and there's some extreme macho guys out there. And I don't know why we seem to be catering to everybody, trying to please everybody.
You can't.
You can't, no. But I think that's the only thing that I can think would drive that kind of behaviour. It's trying to keep everybody happy. So the ultra feminists win if it has to be 50-50 men and women, right? And it's like, well,
yeah,
that's pretty. The word toxic masculinity is quite a popular phrase now, but there's nothing really to suggest that people can be toxic. So it's not just men; it's men and women.
No, men get a lot of flack.
Men get loads of shit, and some rightly so, some do. But I think they get the brunt of it, if I'm totally honest.
It's even down to stuff like man flu. I hate that term. What's the difference between a man having the flu and a woman having the flu?
Some guys are pathetic, though.
I'm sure some women are too.
Yeah, true. But that's the hypocritical world that we live in. So a lot of women will go, "Oh, fucking just man up. It's man flu. It's just a
Sounds
cold."
Like you just man up.
Well, that's the kind of thing I would say.
Yeah.
But again, that's what I mean by it's a bit hypocritical because it's almost saying, well, a man should just step up and but then in other situations they're like, no, the man shouldn't step up. He should move to the fucking side and let us come through. So, well, which one do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the old school man that's boom?
Yeah.
Or do you want this new modern man that's vulnerable, in touch with his feelings, and is all about?
That is hard. That is really hard.
It is. It's hard to know how to behave and function and where we fit in. I've spoken to this quite a lot about where men fit in now.
Yeah.
Because traditionally it was we were providers, and I think women can pretty much provide for themselves now.
Yeah.
In financial terms, perhaps.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, my other half earns just as much money as I do. She puts 50% into the house, and you know, and it's not that thing where you take them out for dinner and you pay anymore. Yeah. It's all gone.
Do you think that's a good thing? Like, are you in favour of that? Because it sounds like a sensible move.
Yeah, I think it's equality, isn't it? I mean, you know, take gender out of the equation. We're all people.
Yeah, but things are never going to be equal, right? Okay, so you and Caroline are walking down the street and some guy jumps out threatening you. Surely equality goes out the window there, right?
What do you think? I'm going to step up and...
I think Caroline would expect you to.
She'd probably swing first, quite frankly.
Do you reckon?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, but let's say you were telling the story then, and you said, I backed down, and Caroline stepped up and took this guy out.
Yeah. No, of course I would. Obviously I would. And, you know, you'd protect. But that's a male thing to do, isn't it? You would take
I believe so.
I would as well. And I still believe in you know, opening a car door or opening a door if and when, as long as I get a thank you afterwards.
See, I used to be like that. Now I'm like, Alex, well, why are you really holding open the door? The only time I've got pissed off is when I held the door open for someone. And by the way, I'll hold the door open for anyone, whether you're a guy or a girl, right? But this woman said, do you not think I can open the door myself? Part of me just wanted to slam it in her fucking face.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
How can you win?
Well, that was ridiculous.
And yet, had you not, you'd probably go, "Oh, thanks for opening the door for me." You just can't.
It's rude to do it to anyone. Like, you know, if you can see someone coming through, you just hold the door open for them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like people would now pick at anything. But yeah, I think dudes are a bit, they're a little bit lost right now, and I understand why. Because part of me, I get confused sometimes. I'm like, Alex, you're being too macho, back down. And then part of me is like, no, actually, you need to step up, and you are a man, and this desire to protect, you can't just remove from you. It's fucking in you. And I am a protector. I do want to be the leader in a relationship. I ain't going to lie or pretend about it. I want to lead, and that's it.
But if you're in a relationship with a woman that feels the same and they feel that they want to lead,
but then you're not together.
Then they're used to leading, for example. So in my relationship, Caroline runs a pretty sizable team. Yeah. So she's used to taking the lead, making the decisions.
At work, yeah.
At work. Yeah. But inevitably that's going to roll over into your home life as well, because it's inherent. And then you think, well, okay, where's the balance? How far do I let her do this before she starts going, well, actually, you know, you don't.
Terry, that's terrible language.
I see what you're saying there.
No, I get it.
But it's a conscious choice, isn't it? So I am allowing a degree as she allows as well. So there's that balance. So if you've got a strong woman, it's do you capitulate and let them have their way, or do you push back? And a lot of times, strong people don't know they're strong. You know, I've got mates that are like it. You know, they're all this, and that's just the way they are. But if you ask them, they would think they're a pussycat, really.
Yeah, I mean, strength comes in different ways, doesn't it? I mean, what I believe, like, if shit hits the fan, let's say there's just big trouble and big problems, it will be the guy that steps up, like on a physical front,
physically, yes,
physically and on other levels.
Again, it depends on the woman.
Sure, but I think this is where it's totally okay to have different... This is what I think we've gone wrong with. It's like, suddenly it's not okay to have a leader man and a woman who says, actually, I'm happy with the guy leading. Like, that's okay, isn't it? And if a woman wants to lead, that's okay too. Yeah. But that's where I feel like we've come off track a bit. It's all of a sudden like, this is how things should be. It's like, well, can't you let people define what's okay for themselves?
Well, that's the way it should be, and that's the way it should be in any relationship. You know,
so I wouldn't want a woman who tried to take control of the relationship and me. It just would not fucking work. It would clash all the time. I'd rather be like, I'm leading. You know, I want to direct us, and that's it. And people might say that's chauvinistic, but they might. But it's just like you said.
But that's
pretending.
fine. That's the way you are, and you'll attract somebody that will allow you to do that.
Yeah. And again, it's not in a controlling way. It's a lot. I think some women appreciate that in a man, where they go, "I've got full confidence that they're going to do the right thing for us."
You're absolutely right. And you know, I've had this levied at me. You know, I wish sometimes you would take more of the lead. The problem is when you've got someone that's so efficient and is, you know, capable of doing everything. It's very easy to just sit back and go, "Well, actually, let you get on with it."
Well, I think that's where it becomes a bit dangerous and toxic, when arguments arise and you get things thrown like that in your face, and you say, "I wish you'd just step up and be a man." And it's like the moment you do, it's not well received. So I think, again, this all goes back to like boundaries and what you stand for. And I think if I entered a new relationship now, I'd want to get those boundaries clear from the off, just so I know what my lady would want and what's good for me and what's good for them, so we're both happy.
You're going to interview her as some sort of questionnaire or something?
Well, you see, we laugh about this, but I think it's important to know, because if they don't want that in a man, I don't want them to find out 3 months later.
No, you've wasted 3 months, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'd rather, but I see it as a really good, responsible thing to do, and say, I'm willing to step up and take more responsibility for us and the direction that we go. I quite like that. I don't want to sit on the fucking fence and let my woman take all the shit. I'd rather be in the trenches. I'd just rather, and I can try not to be like that. It's not going to work. But I see that as a quality, and I think not many guys have that now, and they're happy just to kick back and let things go.
But this is what you're saying, is it's confusing for men now.
Yes.
It is confusing, because in the olden days, you were expected to open cars' doors, you were expected to pay when you went out, you would take the lead, you'd be the male figure, and the woman would be at home doing the housework and whatever. And things have progressed massively since my parents and then my generation. And now men are in this sort of no man's land where they don't really know what's expected of them, like you said. And it's like, do I take the lead? If I take the lead, am I being too assertive? Do I share the responsibility? At what point is it equal? It's just a minefield.
So I think it's weird that, like, if Caroline said, I'm going to retire and I'm going to chill at home, like, I don't think there'd be much wrong with that.
No.
But if you said, I'm going to retire and chill at home, and Caroline goes out and works, right?
The perception around, it would be by the people.
Yeah, it would be like, fucking hell, Terry.
That's interesting that's still the case.
It is still the case.
You know, the stay-at-home dad or whatever, and that's still a bit weird. But if the woman's earning more money, I have friends in that exact position, where the woman earns considerably more than the guy, so the guy stays at home, and the woman goes out. But isn't that the logical thing to do? Somebody's got to look after the house. And
logically, in a financial situation, yeah. Whether logically in terms of innate desires and fulfilling life. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say that's wrong, because I don't believe it's wrong. No. Like, I think if he's happy with that and she's happy with that, fucking go. This is what I mean. Why would I give a shit? Why would I go out my way to say that that's wrong? It's just ridiculous. For me, I wouldn't like that. Doesn't mean that it shouldn't be the case.
It's preference, isn't it?
It is preference, but I think if you're unsure as a man what to do, that's where the issues lie. Like, I think if you've got a desire to lead and step forward and provide, and you don't feel like you can, I think that's where a lot of the dangers lie. Especially if, like, you know, the problem with the relationships is if a man and a woman break up and there's kids involved, the kids automatically, normally anyway, would go with mum, right? That's a big hole. If you're a dad and you love your kids,
been there.
Fucking hell, what a blow that is. And then let's just say you don't have a purposeful job, so you've got no kids anymore around you all the time, and you've got no purposeful job. It's like, what do I live for now? Before, I used to have to go to work and provide no matter what that job was, and I came home and my family are there. They're not there anymore. It's like, I haven't got kids, but that's hard for me to talk about because it sounds painful as fuck.
It is. It was painful. When I got divorced, when I separated, and, you know, there's this, you can see them on a Wednesday and every other weekend. And I'm like, hey, where does this come from?
Yeah.
We just decided that we don't want to be together anymore. Why should I all of a sudden not be allowed to see my children on a regular basis? Bearing in mind, initially when I set the company up, I worked from home, and I was there for all the first footsteps, you know, the first words. I was there. I was changing nappies and doing design at the same time. So I wasn't prepared to that wasn't going to happen. That just wasn't an option. So I said, no, I've done nothing wrong. I'm having them half time or half the time. So, and we agreed on that, relatively quickly. And that made a big difference. But I tell you what, probably the hardest thing is seeing them go at the end of the week. I remember one time I was living in rented accommodation, and the kids had their little wheelie suitcases, and they were by the front door waiting for their mum to come and get them. And on top of their suitcases were their teddies. Yeah. And I burst into tears.
Yeah, of course.
It was horrible. And they went, and it's like, silence. It was horrible. And it took, a few times of that happening to think, well, actually, no, it's okay now. I've got time to myself. I'll go and concentrate on the business, do other things, go to the gym. And then it became the norm. But, yeah, those first few times it happened, it was just awful.
I think the worry of it can be financially crippling as well. If you're someone who's built a business and then you get married, and then you've got to split things down the middle. Like even that, it's like I don't see where the equality is on things like that. Like why does the rights automatically go to mum for kid time? And again, this isn't fucking women hating speech or any of that bollocks. No. It's just like if you want equality, I think if you're really going to push for that, it does need to be throughout.
It's got to go both ways.
Yeah, it's got to go both ways so that we really do get equality. I don't think equality is necessarily essential. I don't think you'll ever get equality. I don't think, like we said about the job situation, I don't think it needs to be 50-50. I don't get that. Why can't it be 70-30 or 60-40? I don't think equality is needed. At a base level of like, should everyone have rights to clean water and, yeah. But in terms of thriving, not really.
I just don't think it's right that people are put into a position, in a job, for example, put into a position and they're not there on their merit.
Yes.
And there's somebody that could be doing that job and doing it better, and they haven't got a job.
Sure.
It's just not right.
It's not right.
It's ironic because it's trying to do the right thing, but by doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing.
That happens a lot though, Terry. I think we try and overcorrect things. We try and aim for fairness, and then by definition, what we reach is a point that it's really not fair.
And who decides what's fair?
Well, who does decide? I don't know who's deciding these rules. Who is deciding these rules?
I don't know.
Who's the Prime Minister now?
Rishi Sunak, isn't it? No?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
It ain't him. He ain't fucking in charge. I don't care what anyone says. Do you think he's really making all the rules?
No.
Like when it's time for COVID lockdowns and stuff, do you think he has the power to decide whether UK is a free country or not?
Who knows?
It ain't him.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. He's a figurehead, isn't he? Whether he has the final say on things or whether it's... I assume there's a group, they sit down, discuss it.
I bet Boris was told UK are going into lockdown. I bet Boris didn't sit there and go, actually, I'll decide what happens.
No, he wasn't sat there smoking his pipe and thinking, I'll lock the country down. I don't think that happened.
No.
But no,
so who tells him? Who runs the world?
Well, nobody. Not effectively, anyway.
Whoever it is has got a lot of money. That's all I know.
Who runs the world? I mean, yeah.
We're going to go down some conspiracy shit soon.
Well, it's the big corporates, isn't it, I suppose.
Lockdown really frightened me of how powerless we are.
Yeah, it was quite humbling, wasn't it?
Looking back now, it's actually scarier than I thought. Especially as a lot of the stuff's come out now, with this like, well, no, you can just fucking do what you want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now COVID's not even talked about, really. It's like that was scary. Like, we can shut down your business. We can tell you not to go outside. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Well, they did. Boris Johnson gets on the TV, goes, I've got something to tell you. You mustn't go out.
Yeah.
And everyone did it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
But that's the thing about men who step up. If you step up now as a man, you're punished and penalised. They don't want... The government will not want independent men that are leaders. Because if you have too many of them, the government are going to be challenged too much. So, of course, they want people to fit in, don't they? And there's ways that you can do that. We won't give you money if you do, we won't give you a government grant. So if we give you this cheeky bit of money, you follow the rules. Same with your pension, everything. That'll be soon. If you don't hit our point system, you're not having your government state pension. I guarantee that'll happen. If you don't follow our rules, you ain't getting your money.
Well, I mean that's what the government are there to do, isn't it? They're there to govern and rule, but to what end? You're right. Who ultimately is going to benefit from having everybody, neatly penned like little sheep and obeying and doing what's, the government, the sheepdogs, and we're the sheep.
Yeah.
But who's the shepherd? Who's the one that's going to ultimately, benefit from this?
Mate, we've gone fucking miles off track.
Oh God, I've been all over the place.
I don't know what we're talking about. How do we get to who runs the world?
I don't know.
Who runs the world? Girls. Have you heard that song?
No.
Beyonce. Yeah, it's really annoying, that song. What's next for? So let's wrap this up with a two-parter. What's next for you? And then I'll save the last question because that's traditional Betterman question. What's next for you in the business then? So if me and you were sat here in 5 years' time, and I say, Tal, I'm going to do another podcast in 5 years. Where would you like your life and business to be?
I would like to be doing less, for sure. I'm not going to give up. I love design, so I'm always going to be in design in some capacity.
Cool. Let's play this out then. So you've got the business down to 3 days a week. What are you doing with your 2 days extra? It's an important question, that, isn't it? What you do with your time.
Do you know what the sad thing is? I'd probably set another business up.
Doing what?
I don't know. I love cars. I've always loved cars. Cars are my passion.
That's where Josh gets it from, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. Buy and sell cars. Something I don't know.
Are you handy under the car bonnet?
Yeah, I'm all right. My dad was a mechanic, which is where I got my sort of passion from. I'm probably not so handy under the bonnet with all these crazy cars. I'm just getting my electric car this month.
Well, don't get me started on that. Listen to Joe Rogan podcast with a guy called, I can't remember, but he's talking about the slavery behind all these batteries that are in your iPhone.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh my God, like check it out.
Yeah.
Like we think we're doing a good thing by going to electric. Actually, it's being fueled by this slavery system, and slavery is worse now apparently than it was 200 years ago, because it shouldn't be so present in today's world. But honestly, it's terrifying.
There's a cost to everything, isn't there?
Yeah, but I didn't know that phone that I've got there, behind that manufacturing of that phone is slave labour.
Well, same technology powers that
everything, every battery,
batteries, yeah,
every battery. So no matter what your whatever technology you've got and car, that is electric powered or battery powered, yeah, it's been slaved by the people in the Congo.
No, I know. So and again, it's just what we were saying. You're trying to do something good, but in doing something good, there's a negative. It's the yin and yang. It's the universe, isn't it?
It is. The terrifying thing is, like, I've used my phone several times today, and I haven't given it a second thought. Even though after yesterday, I know that slave labour has been used to make that phone.
Probably the same with your cap and your t-shirt
Clothes.
and your trainers.
Sure. Mate, it's an All Saints t-shirt. It's not going to be made here.
Is that the band?
No. I used to like them, actually. They were all right. Bit of
Hamilton Sisters, isn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah. But that's what I mean. We're kind of like, we're a little bit sick and twisted in the fact that, like, I don't know whether we just think we're the most important thing in the world, we, the I, and like, even though we know that, we're willing to turn a blind eye to it. Otherwise, I'd be dropping that phone today, right? If I really gave a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's like, why don't you give a shit?
Because it doesn't affect you directly.
And I can't see it. It's not
you
real.
can't see it. It's like, it's the same, like, if you're a sniper, sniping somebody from 1,000 yards or something is different to putting a bayonet in someone.
True. Yeah.
You're not seeing the whites of their eyes, are you? And it's, I could pull a trigger on somebody, I think, but I couldn't stick a knife in someone. And it's the same thing. It doesn't affect you directly. It's not up close and personal.
No,
it's going on, but do you know what? It's not actually affecting me.
Okay. So 5 years' time, you've maybe got a second business. I thought you want to do less. Now you've got a second business.
Well, that's, again, there's you said that earlier. These guys in the sauna that you seem to hang around with, which seems a bit dodgy, they're going, what are you doing? Oh, I shouldn't have retired. And they go and set up another business.
It makes me laugh, because I'm like, all these guys with nothing better to do with their time than hang around in the sauna, and there's me in the sauna. Yeah. I always catch that. I'm like, fucking rush hour. It's crazy, isn't it? And I'm one of the cars. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know you're part of the problem. No, I travel. I want to travel. Since meeting Caroline, we've done a lot of travelling. She's big into that, and
that's nice. It's nice to go with someone that you fucking love as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an adventure, and going and seeing things that I've never seen. So yeah, I could see that. Dreams, house abroad, something like that. Maybe live.
That's what a good relationship is about. Like, because you've met Caroline, you're doing things that you might not have done if you hadn't met her.
Oh, absolutely.
That's kind of what it is, both ways. Do you know what I mean? That's where you
Yeah.
can really encourage each other to, you can show her things, she can show you things. I think that's the sign of a good relationship.
Yeah, it's discovery, isn't it? And that's life. It's all about discovery at the end of the day.
It is.
Keep
It
discovering.
is. And you can do that on your own, but it's harder. It's more fun when you've got someone to do those things with.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want to do it on my own.
Plus, she might take you places that you wouldn't go.
And yeah, skiing next week.
Wicked. Yeah, be careful, mate. You don't look ski condition, but
You're always having a pop at me, aren't you, about my condition?
I know.
There's a finely tuned machine under here.
And yeah,
Way
under
under
there.
it,
I
yeah.
was going to say way under, but yeah. So that's cool. And then last question. This is a good one, and try and answer this seriously because I know you'll make a joke out of this to avoid answering it. All right, I know you well enough. What do you need to work on in order to become a better man?
I think going back to the turtle thing, giving back. I think making a difference, because I don't think what I do. I don't perceive what I do as making a difference. It makes a difference to other people's businesses. You know, build a nice website, design a nice brochure, or what have you, and you know their turnover increases because it's great. But that's not really making a difference the way I want to make a difference. And I think, you know, going and saving turtles or whatever it might be, I think would be a really sort of noble thing to do. And again, you know, I would get out of that because I know how it felt putting that turtle back in the water.
Yeah.
It felt amazing. And yeah, I can see myself doing something like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really valid point. I'm sure there's loads of local causes around here too.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a... You know,
no, but it's the representation of what it means, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the baseline is giving back.
Yeah. One of the best things I did, it was hard because I had to get up early and I went to there's a homeless shelter in Coventry. And I just used to take the beds apart and sort out all the I mean, it was hard because people were pissing the bed and there was a lot of mental health issues there, a lot of drink problems. But just getting your hands dirty again and doing jobs that you just wouldn't normally do, it does humble you, and it kind of like resets your expectations sometimes, reminds you how lucky you are. And yeah, it's a weird thing in giving back. It's good. It's like sometimes the harder the task, the better when it's going to give back. Does that make sense? So if you really get your hands dirty and do things that you probably would never have to do.
It's a comfort level though, isn't it? It's like going to the gym. You know, everyone has a comfort level. I can lift that. I know I can lift it. I don't want to try that because I might not be able to. And if you step outside your comfort zone, which everybody tells you got to do all the time, and going and doing something like that for homeless people and having the not quite so nice shiny side to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's me going, oh yeah, I'm going to go on a beach in Barbados and save turtles. That's not even in the same league as what you're talking about. But ultimately it's the same underlying sort of thing you're trying to do.
It's the same values, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think there's a limit that people have as to where they're prepared to go.
Yeah, and what they can tolerate too, because you know you see that every week, and it does put a different spin on what you think of the world, of humans. Like you realise how sick some people are, how ill some people are, and you know they're not going to get better. You know that's the sad thing. You know that's their life, and that's quite hard. Like some people can't look at that. But even people in jobs like nurses, they see this stuff time and time and time again. You've got to be able to tolerate that without it destroying your life too. That's the thing. I've learned a lot about people. There's a lot of sick people out there.
No, I know. My mum's in hospital currently. I'm going visiting her on a regular basis, and you know, you're seeing those people, and you think, you know, some of them aren't going to go out of there.
Yeah, some won't come out.
Just know
they're finished. Yeah.
And it's.
Can you ever really relate to that being you? Because I'm still not there where I kind of know I'm going to not be around forever, but I don't really know that. I don't envision me being that old guy in the hospital bed.
Until the last couple of weeks, no. But having seen my mum going down, she fell and broke her hip. And it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the journey she's gone on to get to where she is. You know, COVID was bad. You know, she wasn't going out, and she's just become housebound. And you know, I thought that potentially could be me. And yet I know people of her exact age who are not lying in a hospital bed at the moment,
Sure.
and they're out doing charitable work, for example. And I know which one I'd rather do and be, but in order to do that, I know the steps I've got to take, and that involves getting out there, doing a bit of exercise, watching what I eat, just looking after myself better.
Sure.
And people just tend not to look after themselves. It's just going back to what we said at the beginning. You know, sometimes too difficult. You've got to make that choice. So yeah, I do see myself there and think, and particularly when when you're my age, my grandparents have all gone, my dad's gone, my mum, hopefully she's got some years left in her, but when she's gone, I'm next.
Yep.
And that's like, whoa. I'm next in the queue. I'm head of the queue for the pine box.
They always say, like, once your parents pass away, because mainly what you worry about is them first.
Yeah.
And then when they pass, it suddenly hits you like you just said. It sounds morbid, but it's true. It's like, I'm next.
Yeah.
Because I haven't got anyone else. Because hopefully, if everything works out as it should, Josh ain't going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? He's young. He's 20. So yeah, you start to think about your own death versus your parents dying, because there's a lot of anxiety in your parents dying. We've ended this on a positive note.
Haven't we just?
How did you? Thank you, by the way. How did you feel about breaking your podcast virginity? Enjoy?
Yeah, it was good.
It's easy, isn't it?
But you're easy to talk to anyway.
Well, it's just like we would chat shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite a relaxed convo. It's good fun, man. It's nice, and people surprisingly like to earwig on these conversations.
I don't know what anyone's going to get out of that, but
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I think one thing is just two men having a conversation, which I struggle with this, Terry. Sometimes I have to remember that some guys don't speak to anybody. Mm-hmm. So just being one of the reasons I love Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, don't you? It's kind of like I'm involved in conversations that I would never have heard in my life if it weren't for him. Mm. And I think some people, I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but might get a little bit of that from just listening to two guys chat.
Well, I hope so. I just, I looked at your priors.
It made me laugh how the
climbing
Everest,
the
explorer guy,
multi-millionaires, writing books, gold medalists in the Olympics. And then there's me. I don't
give a fuck about all the. It's nice to speak to those people, of course it is, but they're still just like you. They're a normal person.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't really get like starstruck. Well, I don't think, oh my god, it's the millionaire in front of me. I had the owner from here.
No, I know, I saw.
It's totally fucking straight up normal guy.
Of course, yeah, I know he is.
I mean, I think he sold his biz for like 56 mil. His old biz.
Yeah.
But again, it really doesn't impact the way I speak to him.
No, well, it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
No, I don't think so. No.
It's just that's the direction they took. And they focus their energies.
That might be you in 5 years. Ghost.
Who knows? It might be a high street brand or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna go and check that this has come out all right.
Well, I'm secretly hoping.
No, thank you, man. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. It's good.
Good. I think everyone should have a go on a podcast. It's good to get people's stories, inputs, and thoughts.
I tell you what it is. It's interesting to have a period of time focused solely on one person.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about it. No phones.
That's
Me and you will probably never have an in-depth hour-and-a-half conversation again with no distractions.
No.
And that's sad, but it's true.
No.
Sad but true. Terry, thank you.
Pleasure.